Welcome to the Elemental Lifestyle Podcast with Katrina Elkins, Radical Honesty for the Conscious Leader. In this space, we get to explore the elements, sex, food, and today I am so thrilled to have Patrice Bisiot from Image Impact Reading, and he is here to talk about appearance and how we show up in the world as leaders. And it is my absolute delight to have you here today, Patrice. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Katrina. Hi from Beverly Hills.
Welcome. I'm so glad that this worked out, that you get to share your messages here on the platform for the Elemental Lifestyle Podcast. So right off the start here, let's just dive into it. You have such an extraordinary talent and a gift to really intuitively hone in on what it is and how people are showing up in such a quick amount of time. And you've really harnessed your gift in such a powerful way. Can you share a little bit about how the intuitive part, the gift for you, has really impacted your gift here that you're showing up with to serve and to empower leaders?
Yes, of course. I'm happy to do so. Yeah, so, imagine it's Paris. I'm 18 years old and I was managing 3 salons at the time. And from that, I had the opportunity to come to the US, which was always very clear to me that was really what I wanted to do. So, so it was always about, the high fashion, the runway, the editorial already side of life. And then when I came to the US, I managed a salon in Bahama shops. But very quickly, as I hired my PR actually here in Beverly Hills, we really understood that my clientele and my avatar was really all about the leaders, the A-listers, the people that are making a difference in the world. And then so from an image perspective and just on the hair, the makeup, and the appearance, little by little, the transition really became very clear that I was actually really mindful, and my intuition and instinct was telling me what they needed in order for them to project what message they wanted to aim to. So very quickly, my clientele actually really trusted me on the red carpet. They trusted me, whether it was TV or magazine or press of any form. I really understood that I could help them because everything you wear, from your hair to your clothing to your body posture, your voice pitch, everything says your story. Everything in 1 second is all you are. Because as we are instinctive and as we are reactive beings, we have been cultivating those patterns since we're children. And whether the part of the world you were growing in, whether, the religious background, was it your parents, your grandparents, your teacher, whoever was your mentor, really taught you a certain amount of things. And it became patterns that were just something that's part of your DNA. And now when you look at something, in 1 second, it tells you what it is. So that's really where it happened. And then when my book, Mind Your Hair, showed up and was a bestseller, but really got me in front of, female empowerment and millennials and all those groups, it was really all about having this thing where I was able to help. I was able to create actually this momentum of abundance and really understanding where are you coming from, where are you going, and I help you to bridge A to B.
Yes, you are filling in the void, that gap. So being that bridge to help really provide that space for leaders. And you have such an incredible story to share, about your journey of really coming to that space of letting go of everything and then really honing in on your gift. And would you like to share a little bit of that for just as inspiration for so many leaders who are facing challenges of having to really be vulnerable and get to their core of what their authentic gift is?
That's it. You just said the word authenticity. So absolutely, I'll share my story again very quickly. Success has grown very rapidly, as explained, from the teenage, I was even doing real estate in Paris and all that. Everything was amazing. Now, years later, when the market crashed, the real estate market crashed, I crashed with it. And not only that, but my business partner, took me to a cleaner. A lot of things happened. I had an interior design firm because I was just at the point where all I wanted was to make money, more money, greed, and just feeling like this nothing was ever enough. And I could only exist and really being defined from my possessions. How many watches did I have? How many cars did I have? How many of what did I have with what label and what brand attached to it? Only when I lost everything, I literally from owning the world to, in a month of time, sleeping in my car. And that's really where it resetted the clocks. And it really brought me back into, wow, what do I do now? But this was the time for me to realize that I was enough. I had to love myself enough because I was enough. I was always enough. Only I just got caught into the system where, this was, like I say, it was never enough and more and more and more. So that's why when I speak to the leaders, I understand their pains. I do know. And all entrepreneurs, every entrepreneur I know has done that at least once in their lifetime where they did at some point crash on somebody's couch. And you see, this is the thing. From it, I've learned that I had some amazing friends, my friends, Jennifer and George, who sheltered me, who gave me one of the kids' room. And that was my learning process. This is where I was able to finally put the energy in the right direction and knowing, well, if I teach what I teach to people, how about teaching it to myself and for myself? And this is where I was really able to focus on me, on my brand, because your personal brand aligns with your professional. And in one is of balance, I could tell you, if your personal is not working well, it will affect the business and vice versa. So here we are, having really understand all of us. And when I come to my client, I explain clearly. I'm not a PhD, I'm not a doctor. I simply come from a place of experience. That's how you really can touch the heart. And if you speak from a place of heart, from the core of you, from the authenticity part of you, everything aligns and it just becomes so natural, normal, organic to all go together. And now I'm able to take you through your journey and understand who you are and where you're going with your brand.
Yes, Patrice. Oh, that just makes me so fired up because I relate to that in so many ways. And with the leaders that I work with as well, is really knowing that we have walked that walk and that this is the space where we can help bridge that gap of this void that's missing, or, it's not about the next gadget or the next thing, and really allowing this life to really be passionately lived. And you show that. I've been following you, known you for 3 years, and you show up so fully and alive and ready to own all of your gifts and then to share that with the world. So I want to dive in to the space of, you really work with a lot of women and the women's empowerment as well, and really providing that space, and that there is that real beauty of a woman who shows up with her appearance put together, and there's that space of real authenticity that can come from that. But you have to make it through some of these other obstacles like shame and guilt and all of these other things. So can you speak a little bit about what you've noticed with women, particularly regarding shame, and how you have really transitioned them to embrace all of who they are in their appearance?
Absolutely. The first story I have is this beautiful story, so here I am in the middle of high fashion and press and media and all that. And I think life is just a big runway, just ready to happen every day. And then it happened that my business fused with this very, very famous, it's a weight loss camp, and it's a very luxurious one. And so this was a very new market to me. This was a very, very different market. And of course, all the ladies and all the men, but the ladies, of course, I could connect with, they were I mean, I do both. We're both genders. I need to make that clear. But, I've always had a little weak point for, all my women of the world, because they, you girls need that constant help, and I'm here for that. So anyway, the first experience I had with this lady, and she comes and she's looking down and she's wondering what she can do with her appearance. So I say, really, why don't you sit and why don't we talk? So we talk, and she could see that I'm taking it from a place of knowledge, a place of passion, a place of love, because love is in so many forms, and that's what I provide. So from it, she decided to go for it. We went through the process, because that's the thing. Change is a process. You don't just make yourself over, and I'll go back to that, because mind your hair, the psychology of makeover, and knowing because you want to change today is going to change your life. It won't. So we'll go back to that. Back to my little story. Now this lady looks incredible. The hair is different. The makeup is different. Some of the tips, for how, the body posture and the wardrobe. And now she's crying. And all she could say to me is, I look like a movie star. You made me look like a movie star. And this is what I explain to all my clients, because they think they open People magazine and they see those women and they look like that from the moment they put their foot on the floor. They don't. They need people like us. They need all those image consultants and the lighting and the photographers and the makeup and every possible element. All of you, women of the world, ladies, you all are a movie star, because if you have the right team around you and the nutritionist and the trainer and all that, it's easy to do. You'll have everybody thinking for you. Back to my story. Now this lady is crying, and she's crying, and she said, you make me look like I'm walking on the red carpet with you. And it was such an emotional, touching moment, that this was an aha moment for me, because coming from the place I am, where I could only see women being 100 pounds and 7 foot tall, and suddenly I was in front of a completely different scenario, and that scenario is called life, and it's real. And you want to talk about authenticity, it is as authentic as it could be. So we actually hugged each other. I'm crying with her, because now, it's just so overwhelming of love, because she's so grateful and so kind about it. That's what I started developing, is this gratefulness for what I do, and the gratefulness of people trusting my ability to help them. And so fast forward, I helped on so many levels, but now social media has managed to give you all that database, but at the same time, everyone is so lost, because there are so many messages, because society essentially tells you, be who you are. But when you're who you are, you get shamed for it, you get blamed for it, you get criticized, you get blasted on social media. Okay, now, if you don't take care of yourself and you feel like, nah, I'm gonna have a lazy day today, well, now you're sloppy, and no one wants to know anything about you. So there's this thing where if you take care of yourself, it's a vanity project, and it becomes, oh, who is she? Who does she think she is? You don't take care of yourself because today you don't feel like, you feel like having it a little more easy on yourself, but then you get blamed for not taking care of yourself. So society really never makes you win. And that's why when you come to peace, and that's what I help all my ladies of the world, is to knowing, same thing, you are enough. You are who you are, and you have to understand that. And that was the one thing I was trained with, is the more my image grew, the more my brand grew. My mentor, one of them, but one that's really been helping me a lot, has said to me, Patrice, you need to understand something very clearly, because I understand that you have been living from what people think. And you were very consumed with that. It's not your time to let go. That's your learning process, because you're going to teach those people to let go. And you know what? One day, I got the click. I realized not everyone's going to love you. Because I'm dressed in blue today, perhaps somebody is going to have something to say, but I wanted my Zen garden behind me, to speak with you, Katrina, a beautiful setting, middle of the afternoon in Beverly Hills. That's the thing. So one half is going to love it, and these are the people we want. We want the crowd we attract. We are the people that want the same group of people with us, and the haters, they're the haters. It's fine. It is their journey, not mine to embrace, not mine to help, not mine to heal or to fix, because there's no one essentially to fix. And when people come to me, they really do it because they feel that they're ready. And sometimes they come to me and they're not ready. And I'm not taking them because it's not just a money thing. It's not just a business thing. It's a heart thing. It's an authenticity thing. It's a love thing. And if they're not ready, we'll know that somehow and someday we will be together, but not today.
Yes. And that's just it. It's the process that we each go through and where we are. And where then one of my favorite sayings is that action requires support. And, you know, in this place as leaders, when we're showing up like this, Patrice, what you're allowing, I love what you just shared. It's that we talked about Cleopatra, and it's like, where does Cleopatra didn't just show up? And so you just kind of walked us through that. And I love that because it's that space of real exploration and experience that allows us to really show up in this authentic, real way that comes from the heart. And the power of the messages that you're sharing, that space of letting go of the judgment, letting go of what other people think. Where have you most seen that in your work, where just letting go of all the judgment? Or do you have a story to share about that aliveness that comes from really this expansion as leaders that we all experience?
Yes, I mean, you know, the example of Cleopatra you're giving, I love that, because you see, that is an example of really showing you that women of all times around the world in every culture, and now you're getting back to the, you know, to the Egyptian, the antique, and the antique Rome, same thing. Women were powerful. Women are powerful. That's actually a great gift. Women are here, and Cleopatra, absolutely, she was here to really reign. She was here to show the world that she had power. She was not apologizing to look larger than life with the jewelries and the gold and the wigs, because she had a message and she was not worried about who was going to love her and who was not. Her job was to keep the country prosperous and to lead all the troops and against the invaders. That was her job. So back to really having this awakening, it's really the story I just gave from this lady. But mine was really all about the understanding. When I slept in my car and I'm laying down and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the stars and I'm in my car, and I'm telling you, this is the weirdest feeling, because here I am, I'm so far ahead of everyone that I thought that I understood more than anyone in the world. But instead of that, I actually didn't. I was only living through what I possessed, what I could buy, what I did. And instead starting embracing gratefulness every morning, realizing my health was the greatest of gift. Everything I could do, my breath obviously is the base and the root of what we are and who we are. But I was so far away from all that I didn't see of it, and I was so close. And you know how you are when you have a gift that's so given to you that you don't see it anymore? Well, that's what it was. And now this moment to me was just the most revealing moment, to be able to wake up every day and literally to say, you know what, thank you. And I listen, you know, to a podcast such as yours, you know, like, it's something that really pushes you up, positive vibe, bringing me back to my element, because if you're not present in this very moment, nothing else can happen. How can you think of today, tomorrow, the day after? It's built and based upon this moment right here and right now, because if you don't do that, then that's not going to work. It's not going to be, the priority is not tomorrow. The priority is right here, right now, because right here, right now is building the next moment and the next and the next, and tomorrow will come. Today, for instance, you see, I'll give you a quick example. I had this really big meeting. I'm going to Dallas for a big meeting. This meeting got canceled, you know, during the day. And I was bummed. And that's the thing. I'm really like you guys. That's the thing I need to remind myself. I need to come from a place of observing. I need to stop myself from all the drama I create in my head. So here I am receiving the email that the meeting is canceled. This is really big one, and I'll tell you later because when it'll happen, it has all to do about female empowerment. 2 hours later, if I tell you, I just said to the universe, you know what? The moment I came to peace with it, and I said, fine, that's what happened. The meeting is canceled. I'm going to Dallas. I mean, I still have some business to conduct, but this was one main piece of it. I said, all right, nothing I can do about it. It's not going to happen. Let's move on. Stop the drama in your mind and in your head, and everything will follow. If I tell you 2 hours later, I received a text and say, oh, you know what? Change of program. We're able to get the studio. We're going to get your interview. We're going to get everything. And that suddenly changed, and everything was, boom, done. That's what it is. That's what's embracing the moment. That's what the reveal and the gratitude brings into your life. Prosperity and abundance at all times.
Yes, yes, that is that conscious internal presence, that being that is everything, that no matter what is happening, what change, plans, whatever, that you can still be in that space of knowing that it's perfect the way that it's unfolding. And I think that can be such a interesting challenge, right? In our society. So thank you so much for sharing that. I want to address the men as well, because that space of real leadership, when a man just really shows up in his appearance and the way that he's speaking and listening. What is it that you would like to really share and speak to the men about? Yeah.
Yes. And you're laughing because you know my point of view on that. Yes, that's the thing, men in this society. I come from Paris, where everything is really, it's really being about yourself. It's really, there is no rule such as, you got to be the dude and the man. And then comparing culture to culture, I realized that when you're at school, actually, I wrote a lot of scientific proofs of boys do much worse than girls. Girls excel at school. So I wanted to look into that because that's easy. And that's really interesting to see, because why is that? Well, easy enough. Now, that's the easy part, is that the pressure is so much on the guys, on the boys. You need to be the captain of the team. You need to be the leader of the group, the cheerleading, how do you call that? The girl that's the, well, that Frenchness came to me. But anyway, you have all that pressure on you that you need to be a man, because a man apparently in society has represented this guy who has a set of shoulders that big, who talks like that, and who walks like that. And, I was glad that finally a guy like David Beckham, he's in sport. Sport is the quintessential, of everything when it comes to gods and models of the world, in a sense of, not models as beauty, but models as the behavior and what to do to influence the culture. Well, this is a man. You cannot make more manly than this guy. And yet, what did he do? Take care of fashion, take care of his skin, take care of his hair, letting his wife actually understanding that marketing and PR appearance has everything to do with your brand. And that very thing actually is the core of his success. Because he did that, if he hadn't done that, you have to understand that he would have been a good soccer player, that because he was showing his vulnerability, his authenticity, he was able to actually show the world that he was this guy that was a man. There was no doubt about it, but the man had a message. The man was telling all the guys of the world, it's fine, be who you are, because that is something to embrace, and that's the power of you. And that to me is the best example of a shift of culture, showing that no, you need to relax. You don't have to talk deeper. You don't have to get bigger at the gym. You just be you, and everything, same thing, will flow and follow. And guys, I could tell you something, get in touch with your feminine side, because you want the girls. Well, that's what's going to bring the ladies to you, not the other way around.
Yes. All those examples, it's so spot on for what is evolving. It's the evolution of our existence and how we're raising this consciousness. And David Beckham, that is such an extraordinary example, because there is that vulnerability. And there is that realness. And I think, I've been talking on this podcast a lot about the seductress, and that's a Cleopatra. But when you think of David Beckham, like it's that place of confidence and vulnerability, but that vulnerability allows that just fierce, incredible confidence that supports the feminine. It supports so much more. So thank you. That was such a perfect example.
Thank you, Katrina.
Like, really, that was such a perfect mirror and reflection of what we want to see. I want to see more of that. You want to see more of that. That is the space that is so beautiful. And like, if there is like a last message that you're really feeling compelled to share, I just feel like you hold this space for true vulnerability and authenticity. And I thank you for your messages and how you're showing up and sharing this with leaders. This is the space of bridging everything together.
Yes, you know what? To wrap it up, my final message is be who you are. Be authentic. I know it sounds redundant, and it's like, oh, I've heard it before. But like everything, as a human being, we are reactive beings again, and we only do things after a while for our brain to really register and process that. Remind yourself every morning how lucky you are. Yeah, there are people that are taller, thinner, richer, younger, better looking. Who cares? You don't know what happens in their lives, because when I walk into those homes, I see a lot of unhappiness. I see a lot of sadness. I see a lot of stories, because everyone has a story to tell. So each morning, gratitude. Remind yourself, this is good. This is a great journey. This is what I'm supposed to do. No one is better or happier than me. I am as happy as could be. And a lot of people would actually love my happiness. That's all it is. Come from a place of you, from the core of you, from the authenticity. Because the moment I show up, trust me, people know it's all me. I'm free speaking. I don't wonder and apologize for what I think. I share my thoughts, and it's after that the others to accept them or not. And that's really my final message for all of you guys.
Thank you for that, Patrice. That is the space where we explore a lot of these messages on the Elemental Lifestyle podcast. So all of you listeners, what we just received, this gift of love from Patrice, is powerful, it's potent, it's real, and I am so excited to watch what unfolds with you, Patrice, as you continue your journey. And how do we connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me with my book, obviously, Mind Your Hair. It's on Amazon, and the second book is about to come. It's going to be launched in September. But you can reach me on Facebook at Image Reading, Bisiot Image Reading. But go Image Reading, you'll find me. Every comment you have, everything you need to share, go on my wall, because your question will interest another 1,000 people, maybe 1,000 people that are too shy to ask that question. There are no bad questions. There are no stupid questions. Every question is important and crucial to understanding the process of the change and personal growth and business growth. So please, Image Reading, Facebook, go on it. Everything you need to know. I'm very committed to my community. Go on it. I will answer. I promise you, within 24 hours, I will answer, and you will have exactly what you need for in order to get your roadmap to success.
Beautiful. So thank you, Patrice, for this. And
thank you, Katrina.
Really, it's so beautiful. And I wanted to touch on the gratitude piece too, just as a last reminder for everyone. The space of gratitude, where you really just feel it in that presence of being, when you are in that moment, it calls in so much. And I just want to say right now, in this moment, I'm so grateful for these messages that you shared today, Patrice. And
thank you.
For all of the listeners out there who have been following and listening to this podcast. We are now number 5 on iTunes. And I have so much gratitude for this space of exploration and honesty, and the messages that are coming through are a place of real fire to ignite and light the way for some of the things that are happening in our world. And I really appreciate your messages today, Patrice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Katrina. We'll meet again, whether in New York, in Paris, in London, in Miami, New York, yeah. God knows, but we'll meet again, and we'll share plenty of other good stuff. So anytime.
Yeah. It's so extraordinary. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your visit and your stay in
Thank you.
And thank you. Blessings to all the listeners. You can tune in and also check out katrinaelkins.com. You can find all the info for the elemental lifestyle. We are so excited for all of these messages to be shared with the world. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
See you soon.